Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. You're not getting an open meme because we're doing another video with stories. Today the frustrating in a different kind of way stories. Probably. But anyways, you know the deal. Before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll check out some more stories. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. I married a Kevin who chews up non-chewable vitamins among his many other Kevinisms. I've considered whether I married a Kevin. He has done things in the past that made me wonder. I was told when he was a boy that his mom gave him money to go to the store to buy her a bunch of bananas, as in one bunch. He thinks a bunch of bananas. She apparently was giving bananas away, making banana bread and banana puddings for quite some time afterward. When he was learning to drive, his dad told him he was going to be turning right at the next road. It was a red light and he thought, why should I wait in line for the light to turn when I can just cut through the median and be on my way? Shortly after I married him, I caught him one night with a canister of instant hot chocolate, picking things out of it and looking concerned. I asked him what he was doing and he informed me that there was dried up corn kernels in our hot chocolate. I went to look for myself. It was the freeze-dried marshmallows. When I made my discovery, I asked him why it didn't occur to him that it wasn't corn because 1, they were white, and 2, they weren't shaped like corn. He said he didn't think marshmallows would look like that. A little later, we had a couple cats and a dog. He fed the cats the dog food because we were out of cat food. I guess it didn't matter much because they're similar animals. When I told him I could have bought cat food since I was out, he was then worried he accidentally killed the cats. Just tonight, my poor little Kevin decided he wanted a magnesium supplement for sore muscles because I take them when my muscles are hurting. He pops it in his mouth and starts munching it down. He grimaces and tells me that it tastes awful. I wasn't paying attention until I heard the sound of revulsion and looked up to see the awful look on his face. I couldn't help but laugh and tell him, "You're not supposed to chew it." He said, "But some vitamins are chewable." Yeah, but not all of them, lol. A few minutes ago, well, when I was still giggling about it, I asked him why he didn't spit it out or at least finish it off by swallowing it with a drink of water. He said he already started it out that way, so he might as well finish it that way. My poor little Kevin. I kind of wonder right now, like, what is going through these people's heads when they do these things? And then also, just imagine her husband is also on Reddit and comes across this story randomly and is like, wait a minute, I did all of these things. And turns to his wife and is like, do you have something to tell me? And it just, what are these people, like, what is going through the heads? Like, if I see something like weird in my food, for example, wouldn't you like check the package to see what's in it? And it probably like says with freeze-dried marshmallows or with marshmallows or something on the front of the package, because people love marshmallows, or at least a lot of people do, so wouldn't you just like put it on the front of your packaging, you know, so people see it in the store and like, ooh, I like marshmallows in my hot chocolate, I'm gonna buy that one. So why wouldn't you just like check the package? Same with like vitamins or any like supplements. Wouldn't you check what the box says, or like, you know, what it says, how you're supposed to take it? If you're supposed to take it with a glass of water, or if you're supposed to chew it. And also, wouldn't you know? Like, chewable vitamins usually look like they're supposed to be chewed, whereas ones you're just supposed to swallow don't look like chewable. So I really wonder what is going through the heads. And it also kind of makes me think that we all have moments where we are Kevins, because there are moments where we all just don't think. And don't bother to read anything and just do things, you know, but still. What is going through these people's heads? Are Kevin Jelena family friends? One day when I was 10, my mother brought a Kevin Jelena to sleep over. In the 3 days she spent in our house, she made some very interesting stupidities, but one really got me questioning how she functions as a human being. From the first moment she arrived, she was claiming to have some pain in her eyes. She said she wasn't seeing well, and I could confirm that they were red and teary. So straight to the act. After some 30 minutes, she asked for painkillers, and we had some Panadol, painkiller containing some codeine and paracetamol, usually used for headaches, etc. We had these pills at home. We kept around for occasional headaches, so I gave them to her, thinking she was having a headache from the pain in her eyes. I then watched this lady grind 3 pills and sprinkle the powder into the inside of each lower eyelid. Her eyes got so sore and red I thought she would cry blood. But the lady remained calm and collected as silent tears flowed from each eye. Didn't even wipe her nose, which equally leaked. I'm sorry, what? I mean, okay, I get it, you were a kid. Like, as an adult, wouldn't you stop this person, right? But if you're 10, I can see why you didn't. But wouldn't you ask her what the hell she's doing? And just, like, tell her that, you know, you usually just swallow these types of pills with a bottle of water or a glass of water or whatever. Wouldn't you, as an adult? But, my god. Honestly, I kind of want to follow up, because she was there for 3 days, so I can only imagine what other things she got up to. And I would love it if your mom wrote stories about her, because she probably has a lot more than you do if you didn't see her that much, you know? That's an interesting choice, to say the least. Kevina gets fired. I worked with the vet tech Kevina. Worked as in past tense because she got herself fired. One day, she was hanging out with her dog and started laughing at something. Her dog jumped up and licked her tongue. That night, Kevina started having diarrhea. She decided that the only possible explanation was that she got worms from her dog's unexpected French kiss. The next day at work, she pulls some dewormer off the shelf and takes an unknown amount. This isn't terribly stupid by itself, but what sealed her fate was that she openly bragged about it to the other technicians. Literally nobody would have known, but she must have been so proud of her idea she couldn't stop telling people. Eventually, she comes across our manager and tells her about her genius plan. My manager was aghast and was forced to fire her basically on the spot for stealing medication from the hospital. Why? Like, usually, like, most firms will allow their employees to buy the products, you know? So I'm pretty sure she could have, like, taken this, like, dewormer and bought it, you know? Because why wouldn't she be allowed to do it? But instead of just waiting and kind of, like, thinking if maybe you just literally ate something you didn't process well, or if you ate something that was, like, you know, kind of off, kind of starting to go bad. No, you decide that your dog in the 2 seconds he French kissed you accidentally must have given you worms. So honestly, this story is just smart, start to finish. Because even if you want to be on the safe side, and be like, well, listen, it might have just been that I ate something wrong, you know, or whatever. But even if it is worms, I'm gonna be safe and take this because, well, I know about it. I know it's not gonna be harmful to me, you know, if I have worms, it's gonna help. And buying the product, no, you decide to steal it, which is smart, obviously. Kevin and the one bedroom. I was listening to r/, and it reminded me of my first roommate. I moved into my first apartment on my Bible college property, and Kevin was a friend from my karate school. We signed a lease with a morality clause, but that's the second story. The first story involved my microwave. He bought orange chicken that could either be microwaved or put in the oven. One day, I came home to the microwave smoking. It turns out that Kevin mixed up the instructions for the oven and the instructions for the microwave, and instead of 20 minutes, he put it for an entire hour. It ruined my nice new microwave. I ended up kicking him out because he not only started sleeping with his girlfriend in our 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, he would lock the door, but he would also have her sleep in his car because she couldn't stay over. I know this because I was overnight security at the school and came back to see her in the passenger seat. And also the fact that there were blood spots in the shower from where he took her virginity. He once declared himself the left hand of God. Really, he turned out to be a major narcissist and abused his girlfriend from what I've heard over the years. These people. I'm sorry, but if you live with another person and you want to be intimate with your partner, you're gonna have to get creative. You're gonna, I don't know, have to wait until like if he has a job, like working the night security, just waiting until he's gonna be out for a couple more hours, so you don't have to literally lock him out of his own apartment. And again, what? Listen, again, we've all done stupid things, right? We've probably all read instructions wrong, or just like thrown the instructions in the trash and then had to go back to the trash to check the instruction because we forgot what we're supposed to be doing. But still, wouldn't you, like, if you do something in the microwave, wouldn't you, like, kind of stay close by to check what's happening? Boss Kevin doesn't understand workplace hazards. About a year ago, I was training to be a machine operator in a food processing plant. Kevin was the supervisor. One day, a forklift's rearview mirror broke off and shattered next to one of the machines. Kevin swept up the glass and then proceeded to swing the bag containing said glass over his head in a circular motion. When confronted, he said, "I was told the mirrors were plastic," completely oblivious to the fact that the contents of the bag were still sharp. It's a goddamn miracle that he didn't injure himself or anyone else after that stunt. A few months later, Kevin was moved to a different position due to creating a hostile work environment. Listen, I don't care if it's plastic or glass. You swept it up, you saw that it had sharp edges, and know you should dispose of it safely, so A, no one gets hurt, and second of all, it doesn't get into the food you're literally processing right next to it. It's not just like creating an unsafe work environment in this case, it's also just risking the safety of your product. So what are you doing? Like A, you really don't seem all that smart, because as like a supervisor or something, you should be able to calculate risks, or like assess risks and, be able to do that well at least. But on top of that, you're apparently also very great and good at leading your people, from what it seems. So yeah, I'm kind of glad they recognized that and moved you to a different position. My god. Kevin, the horrible housemate. I used to live with a Kevin. He did so many stupid things that I can't possibly mention all of them, but here's a selection. Kevin was allergic to strawberries, nuts, and tomatoes, but still ate strawberries, nuts, and tomatoes. He was also diabetic, but once went on a several-hour-long hike in the wilderness without any of his medicine or any snacks. He didn't tell us this until his blood sugar became so low that he almost passed out, and we had to scramble for berries that he could eat while one of us had to run to get help. He once put stuffed armchairs outside and was surprised when they were ruined 8 months later. He didn't know you had to clean a toilet. He was just surprised that his was grimy and dirty while everyone else's was not. One time the electricity suddenly went out. It was Kevin's fault. He had tried to fix his computer with a scalpel. I still to this day have no idea what he was trying to achieve with a damn scalpel. We fixed the electricity and told him to stop playing with that. An hour later, the electricity went out again. Any guesses why? Anyway, he's now an architect who's responsible for actual houses. And I am kind of worried for the safety of the people who live in said houses. Because I'm kind of figuring that you were like in college or something. Like, I kind of get not knowing how to clean, but knowing that you should be cleaning your bathroom and your toilet and like everything basically should kind of be given. Like, I can understand people being confused that you have to clean showers. I kind of get it, but I also kind of don't, because latest after a few weeks when you kind of like start to see buildup of shampoo or something somewhere, you should kind of like have it click that maybe you should clean it. But especially a toilet, I don't get. And I'm kind of just glad you at least had like separate bathrooms apparently in this house you were living in. But still, you're like an adult, you're becoming an adult. I don't care that you just moved out. What? My god. And also, why do you have a scalpel? Just why? And why would you think a scalpel is going to fix a computer? Like, I don't know too much about computers, you know? If my computer was broke, I would frantically start Googling how to fix it. But I wouldn't use a scalpel, you know? And if some sketchy website tells me to use a scalpel on my computer, I would click away very fast. You know? What is this dude doing? And apart from that, like, if you have diabetes at that age, chances are you've had it for quite a while. Shouldn't you know? Or like, even if you were literally just diagnosed with it, wouldn't your doctor tell you that you should probably not really go anywhere without medication or a snack, because you might need it, you might not, yeah, you might be fine, sure, but wouldn't your doctor tell you that for safety reasons, for health reasons, you should always carry things like that? I'm pretty sure he did. I'm kind of sure this Kevin didn't listen, actually. I work with someone who has Kevin tendencies. I work overnights as a security guard. One of my coworkers is a great worker, but if you ever talk to him about things outside of work, he has some wacky ideas. Here are a couple of instances. Keep in mind that he is in his 60s and not senile. 1. We were talking about a movie he had watched recently, and I commented that the CGI was really good. He got mad and yelled that CGI didn't exist because computers can't generate images. 2. The subject of teleportation came up, and I was talking about how it didn't exist yet for humans, and he said that it has been a thing for about 50 years because they do it in Star Trek. 3. We recently watched the new Indiana Jones movie separately, and I commented that the way they made him look younger for the movie was ingenious. He told me that they actually traveled back in time to film Harrison Ford. He also believes that the time travel in the movie was 100% real. Yeah, I don't talk with him about stuff outside of work now. You could if you're really bored on one shift, you know? But I can kind of understand not wanting to. But what? That's kind of like the same idea that children have of when they have like an actor and they're like flashbacks to when this character was a child or like a couple years younger, that they had to wait till that person grew up to film it, you know? Or to film the rest of the movie then, and then like, you know, it's giving those vibes, but most children kind of grow out of it eventually because they realize it doesn't make sense that they would just like try to find an actor that's like a couple years younger that sort of resembles this person. But what do you mean? Computers can't generate images. Okay. This is kind of wild of being like, well, no, it's in a movie. It has to be real. And it has to be real. It's not computer generated. Like, the teleportation isn't just like a gimmick they use. No. It's real. It was in a movie. I would be the same type of person that would probably just try to ignore talking to him, you know, about stuff outside of work, but there are people who would like have a lot of fun with this type of person and just chat with him just to collect all the wild shit they say. Yeah. Kevina wants granola bars off the first floor. My 26 female best friend, Kevina, 23 female, is the type of girl you'd need to have a certain personality in order to deal with her chaos. For context, Kevina and I are local medieval festivals that is run strictly on volunteer work. The township and the committee of this festival have a deal. We take the time to clean up the community center, and the park we use, the township gives us a discount on said park. On our annual Park Day cleanup last year, Kevina and I were walking through the forest ground of the local park. It was mucky and full of trash. I had the garbage bag while Kevina picked up the trash. I looked away for some reason, but I heard Kevina gasp with excitement. I looked up to see Kevina hold these 2 unopened granola bars in her hands. "The gifts from the forest," Kevina beamed. Now, if I know anything about finding unopened food laying on the ground, it was that it was likely tampered with, and I was not about to babysit Kevina on a bad drug trip, or have to explain to her mom that her daughter got poisoned by granola bars. Kevina, I stated, put the granola bars in the bag, we have food. But they're gifts from the forest, Kevina whimpered. Kevina, I am not about to call your mother and explain that the gifts from the forest killed her kid. Now please throw the granola bars out. It went on like this, and even our supervisor for the day and a friend of her family had to step in. Kevina ended up throwing them away. It had become a joke in the festival that Kevina's character would eat anything she finds on the ground. Don't worry, Kevina rolled with it. Edit, since a couple of you asked what she did for a living after I said something, she's in early childhood education. Edit 2, firstly, to the user who called me a Kevin, frick you. Secondly, I remember there was something on the label that made me suspicious about the bar. I can't remember it though. Yeah, generally, if you find, even if it's like unopened food somewhere, like sure, someone might have literally just lost it and it's literally just a granola bar, but do you have any kind of self-preservation? Do you know how weird people are and how much people kind of have a tendency to be violent and want to hurt other people? Like, I would not trust it. If I find food somewhere at all, I don't care if it's unopened. I don't care if it's literally in a plastic packaging. No. Just no. You don't know how long it's been there. You don't know anything about this food. Don't do it. And also, why would... I don't get these commenters saying that she's the Kevin. Why is she the Kevin? She's just trying to look out for this other person. And I'm kind of questioning the job choice of this Kevina, to be honest. But listen, if that's what you're passionate about, I hope it's going well. But still, what? Don't do this. Picking up Kevin from the police station. About 25 years ago, my friend and I are driving around at about 6 PM when I get this call from Kevin asking us to pick him up from the closest police station. Okay, what the hell? None of us were too fond of him, but we said okay since it was less than 10 minutes away. He got into my car and said that he had a fine to pay and showed us the receipt. Why didn't whoever dropped Kevin off in the first place also leave with him? No idea. Why didn't Kevin have his own car? No idea. Anyway, I'm driving and my friend is riding shotgun, and all of a sudden I smell something. Wait, it smells like weed. My friend turned around and said, Kevin, are you rolling a joint? Wait, Kevin, are you rolling it on your police receipt? This dumbass went into the police station with some weed on him to pay a fine. Hey Kevin, do you know that they have canines in there that smell weed on you, and you know that, right? I said. His response was, yeah, and? Kevin, do you know how easily they could have found your weed if they had smelled it? Yeah, and? You know that you will go to jail if they had caught you, right? And Kevin's response was, oh, that didn't get caught then. Kevin, you know you should ask me before you start rolling a joint in someone else's car, right? And Kevin goes, oh, yeah, and? I got so pissed at him as I was just telling him off. Kevin decides to light the joint. I just yelled at him and he goes, oh, don't worry, we're almost at my place. We drop him off at his house and he just sits there in my car smoking the joint. Kevin, get out of my car, you are home now. And he goes, yeah, and I'm like, get the hell out of my car. And he goes, I can't, my mom's home and I have to finish this joint first. I said, Kevin, why the hell would you get high if your mother is visiting you? Without a beat, he said, because I can't stand her, but she still gives me money. Kevin was still getting money from his mom, even though he was a deep sea welder, which pays a very good amount of money. Anyways, my friend had enough at this point. He just turns around, pulls the joint out of Kevin's hand and tosses out the window. Kevin asks, why did you do that? And my friend just goes, because we want you to get out. Kevin begrudgingly gets out of the car, goes to his joint, and I speed off despite the door still being open. Yes, Kevin was planning to get back into my car. Thankfully, that was the last I saw of Kevin. Anyways, we got back to my friend's place and Kevin had left his receipt, the freaking weed and tobacco mix was all over the place. Freaking Kevin had to clean it all up. We looked at the receipt and guess what Kevin had to pay a fine for? For drinking in a public park in broad daylight and being drunk. he was lucky as hell that he got off so easy. Some people are wild. Like, listen, I don't know what the story is with this dude and his mom. To be fair, that's not like the worst part. It's very unnecessary that you're pumping your mom for money, obviously, but honestly, we don't know what the story is there. I'm not even gonna comment, but why aren't you like respecting other people's property? You know? Like, people who roll cigarettes, their own cigarettes or roll joints, they know they're gonna get like tobacco crumbs and everything everywhere. So I wouldn't even ask if I could do it in someone's car, because I know I was probably gonna like lose a few crumbs here and there, you know? Why would you? And also, most people don't even smoke in the cars, even if there are smokers, because that smell is incredibly hard to get out of the car again. So why would you? First of all, and mostly, like, why would you just not ask? Why would you just like not ask? Like, you don't randomly go into other people's apartments and do shit like this as well, do you? Because I'm kind of afraid you would actually do this. She thought it would be a good idea to joke about school shootings. She's a teacher. I once had a teacher who I will call Kavina. Kavina was hired as a replacement for a teacher who quit 2 weeks into the school year, so she was brand new to our school. This teacher was absolutely stupid. Some things Kavina did. She would pick out the white students in the classroom, usually only 1 or 2, it is a predominantly mixed race school, and tell us to be nice to them so we would get the warning and not show up for school that day. I'm white, for reference. When we wouldn't laugh at her school shooter jokes, she would call us ops and haters. She would tell us stories about her 2 adopted sons would try to steal and break the law for fun, and all about how she had to cover for them. I can tell you her son's whole life story, including their alcoholic birth mother, from memory. She would make rap songs and try to rap for an entire class period. She would bark or growl at us if we did something she didn't like. She told my entire class that she could tell if someone was autistic just by looking at them. As well as going on a rant about it, we tested this and she failed to guess the autistic person. She would make us do presentations on the history of the Holocaust. She was an English teacher. Gave us test answers during tests so she could get a bonus. Kavina lasted 7 months before getting fired for showing us a music video about a school shooting. These are not all the things she did, but only the most memorable. I still don't know what was going on in her head when she thought these would be good ideas. I also got a few videos of her self-made raps. Update, I found one of the raps I recorded in my camera roll, as well as a clip of the school shooter joke she said. They're posted in my profile for those who want to listen. Why would you think this is a good idea? Like, I get that teacher training in Germany versus the US is probably wildly different, but shouldn't you as an adult have more common sense? Like, if you have like a really dark humor and you think like school shooter jokes are funny, why the hell would you even think that? But second of all, it's one thing if you like make these jokes with your friends in private because you both or all seem to think they're funny for some reason, versus doing this in a school and like trying to include your students in the jokes. Like, you didn't just make a joke, you were like pointing at your students and be like, well, be nice to this person or they might shoot up the school. Why? And also just like doing things that don't have anything to do with your topic. Like, sure, if the students like have a question about something, they're like, hey, listen, I know it's not your topic, but do you know anything about XYZ? And kind of doing like a small detour because, well, whatever, you're trying to be like nice to your students. Okay, but like making your class do presentations about a topic that isn't what you're supposed to teach them seems weird. Yeah, what? I am confused by people. I'm just confused by these people, really. Anyways, I can feel myself lose brain cells. So I think we're gonna have to call it a day, actually. Yeah, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed these stories. I hope you feel good about yourself because you're able to read instructions and be a decent human being to the people around you, you know? I guess. And I will see you guys next time in a few days.